Hi guys, there are 5 major changes that are coming to Chicago, and I want to tell you a little bit about it. They're pretty important, they make a difference. The first one is about the United Center redevelopment. Now, the United Center, which is just west of Chicago, and at one time it was not a very good neighborhood. But things have changed in Chicago, and it's becoming a changing neighborhood. And that's a great thing. The Chicago Bulls and the Chicago Blackhawks are the 2 teams that play at the United Center. So if you remember the Blackhawks, during the early 2000s, they won about 3 or 4 Stanley Cups, which is the big thing. And everybody knows Michael Jordan, so they won 6 championships during the 90s, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, both teams play there, and the United Center is owned by Jerry Reinsdorf, is the owner of the Bulls, and he's also the owner of the Chicago White Sox. The other owner is the Wirtz family. Now, unfortunately, the head of the Wirtz family, Rocky Wirtz, passed away a couple of years ago, and now his son is taking control. And pretty much in Reinsdorf's case, just because of his age, his son has become very important too in this whole United Center redevelopment. A lot of places all over the United States they're unveiling a $7 billion redevelopment plan aimed at transforming the area surrounding the arena. The project, known as 1901 Project, includes the construction of a 6,000-seat music hall, a hotel, green space, dining, and retail options. The second thing that is happening in Chicago is the Red Line extension. Now, keep in mind, for those of you who don't know that much about Chicago and suburbs, but people actually get around Chicago very easily with trains and CTA transits and things like that. And so what they're doing is the Chicago Transit Authority, which is called the CTA, is moving forward with the long-awaited extension of the Red Line, which basically takes more people from the south area of Chicago into the city. This project aims to extend the line from its current terminals at 95th and Dan Ryan to 130th Street. That's huge, to be able to go 35 blocks. Now, this is going to provide improved transit access to the far south side. The extension will add 4 new stations at 103rd, 111th, Michigan, and 130th Street. In August of 2024, the CTA awarded a $2.3 billion construction contract for the project, with a total project cost, including financing, of $5.3 billion. Advanced construction work began in the fall of 2024, with completion anticipated by 2030. Now, interesting enough about the south part of Chicago, it's not an area that I've ever worked. I've been there, but it's probably not going to be the area for people who are moving to Chicago that are going to want to be that far south. But you never know. It's really telling us that the CTA is extending things, and that's great for the people who live on the far south suburbs. It gives them easier access to and from the city where most people work, and that's how most people get to work. They take the CTA, or they take the Metro, or different train systems that we have all over Chicagoland area. A lot of people drive, but typically it's the simplest way to get from, in this case, from the far south suburbs to downtown Chicago. So I think that's really cool. Hey guys, it's Barry Newman. As much as I love making these videos, there's one thing I love more, and that's helping families and people from all over the United States make the move here to Chicago. I've helped countless families make the move. So whether you're coming out next week, next month, or even next year, don't hesitate to reach out. My contact information is right here and linked in the description in case you missed the on-screen pop-up. I look forward to helping you and your family make the move to Chicago. Okay, the third thing that's happening is the unified shelter system. So there are a lot of people who don't have a place to live. There's also been a lot of immigrants, most of them illegal, who have been living in various areas around Chicago. And what is going to happen now in response to the growing need for shelter services, Chicago is implementing the One System Initiative, which is called the OSI, a unified sheltering system designed to serve all Chicagoans, including new arrivals and longtime residents who are unhoused. The current new arrivals mission will end on December 31st, 2024, with the transition to the old or the OSI beginning thereafter. The initiative aims to streamline operations and reduce the cost of operating migrant shelters by consolidating services into a single cohesive system. So, Chicago alone has about 3.5 million people. And unfortunately, there are people who are poor. There are people who don't have a place to live. Housing is not inexpensive. The less expensive is really the south suburbs and the south part of the city. That's if you want to live there. But this is giving a great charitable way of helping people who can't afford the housing in Chicago. Number 4 is the policy reforms under Mayor Brandon Johnson. Now, I don't live in Chicago. I live in a suburb of Chicago. I've lived in Chicago. I don't want to tell you how I feel about this mayor. I don't have a great feeling for him, but I don't know a lot about him to really judge him to anyone who watches this. But Mayor Brandon Johnson's administration enacting several policy changes aimed at promoting equity and economic growth. That's a good thing. In October of 2023, the City Council passed the One Fair Wage ordinance, which establishes a timeline for the eventual elimination of the sub-minimum wage for tip workers by July 1st, 2028. Additionally, the administration is focusing on affordable housing initiatives, including the Bring Chicago Home ordinance, which proposes increasing the real estate transfer tax on property sales over $1 million to fund affordability, housing, and homelessness support services. Now, there is a tax that certain towns have. I'll give you one, for instance, Highland Park. If you sell a property in Highland Park, you have to pay a certain percentage back to Highland Park. Now, a lot of towns don't have that tax, but the good old mayor is planning on $1 million properties that are being funded, and then there'll be a tax on those properties back to the city, even though they're going to go to an affordable housing and homelessness support service. Thinking about relocating to Chicago, Illinois and neighboring suburbs? Well, I've got just the thing for you. My team and I have actually taken the time to create the ultimate relocation guide, which is meant to save you hours of research. And I've linked it down below, from top employees, the best hospitals, and a boatload of other things that you need to know before making the move. The best part of this guide, it's 100% free. That's right, you heard it right from me, 100% free. Just click the link in the description or the top pinned comment, and I hope that helps. In fact, I know it will help. And the fifth one is the downtown real estate transformation, which is facing high office vacancy rates exaggerated by the COVID-19 pandemic. So there's so many buildings in the city of Chicago that are not being rented out. And so Chicago is investing $150 million in subsidies to real estate developers to convert vacant office buildings in the downtown area into apartments and hotels. This initiative aims to rejuvenate the deteriorating district by creating 1,000 apartment units, with a third designed as affordable housing. The plan addresses the commercial real estate crisis and seeks to revitalize the downtown economy by repurposing underutilized space. And there's tons and tons of this space. It's an issue, especially the amount of business that's being done on the internet. It's creating a lot of these issues in many towns, and certainly in Chicago. Now, when you work and you live in the city, you don't have to have transportation, but rents will not be inexpensive. That I could tell you. But let's see what happens. I mean, this is an interesting, they have to do something, they're not going to start tearing down buildings. But, this is what happens. We're talking about change in Chicago, and that's really important. So these developments reflect Chicago's proactive approach to addressing urban challenges and enhancing the quality of life for its residents. But these things that are happening in Chicago are really good things. We have a great governor who lives in Chicago. He's also one of the richest people in Chicago, Governor Pritzker. He's about doing the best he can for Chicago and the state of Illinois. I really like him. Thanks. I hope this was helpful. I know it was for me. And please don't hesitate to contact me. We're just this is really the day after Thanksgiving. It was a great Thanksgiving for me. I really enjoyed myself. I went to a very big gala at a friend's house where there was about 40 people, and there was so much food. It was incredible. So it was really great to be able to have that function for myself and my family. But call me if you have any questions. Text me, email me, whatever works for you. Okay? Thanks so much, and good luck, and have a great holiday.